Back in the 90s, my childhood looked completely different. If you ask my parents, they will certainly tell you that those times were incomparably better and healthier than the ones we're living today. And I'm sure that regardless of whether you're from Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, or some EU country, you've heard at least once your parents tell you the exact same thing. When I was young, we could sleep on the bench in the park and leave our doors open at night, although nobody really knows why you would leave the door open. There were no drugs, and people used to actually hang out and talk to each other. Today, kids are not socializing at all. They're always on their phones, playing some stupid video games and wasting their time. Well, let's pause it for a bit here. We'd like an opportunity to change your mind by showing you a game that we made that has knowledge and learning at its core. Let us also explain why video games are not stupid and why the time spent gaming is often not a wasted one. If you do not care to listen to us, you might want to trust these folks here. Yes, Muti is retiring, Obama is now busy writing books, and Putin is that cool that even robots approach to shake his hand. Not to mention Xi Jinping, who is mastering video gaming across the Silk Road. But if the President of the EU Commission enjoys occasional chats and games with robots, well, the Western Balkans simply cannot counter the narrative that games are cool. In the midst of an unprecedented global health crisis, the delegation of the European Union to Montenegro and the EU Info Center decided to counter the isolation with fun and knowledge raising. But as in any good story, there were some obstacles and challenges on our path. The first one was related to finding a way to switch the public focus from the dire reality of the pandemic to reflecting on the brighter future that awaits the aspiring EU member. The second was to understand how to make an isolated society rediscover the thrill of life while learning along the way. In this regard, partnering with Alicon was a turning point in the process and an indispensable premise for creating a video game that I have a pleasure to present to you today. Alicon team was tasked with creating an engaging trivia game, EU in the palm of your hand, EU na dlanu, that would be something fun and interesting and at the same time result in players learning more about the history, geography, science, culture and politics of the EU. In a nutshell, the idea was to create a web-based trivia game intended for Montenegrin public of all ages who own a smartphone and wish to try something new. The main challenge when designing a game like this is finding a way to achieve the goal, bringing the EU closer to the general public while making sure the game is still fun. Teenagers are learning history through Assassin's Creed because they're interacting with a fun experience where the history lessons add to the immersion while not hurting the core gameplay. The educational parts of Minecraft and Roblox are there to enhance the fun that kids are already having and not to detract from it. Inspired by these and many other successes, we have created a core gameplay loop for an engaging trivia game on one side and a broad draft of topics and information we wanted people to learn on the other. After that, creating a game was mostly answering a question: how do we merge these two in a way that one complements the other? To keep the game educational, we had to have some really challenging questions where we expected players to fail more often, but also add some easier ones to the mix, so the players on average succeeded more than they failed. In short, We made an environment where people were feeling smart while getting smarter. We knew this game would be played on mobile devices in short sessions, on school breaks, in public transportation, or in dull office moments. To achieve this, each game was a mix of 6 short mini-games that could be finished in around 15 seconds each, connected together by a hub world akin to a board game. Each game could be finished in 5 to 10 minutes, and visual feedback was carefully crafted to keep the players on the edge of their seats, while making sure each successful answer delivers a dose of feel-good visual impact that makes the players wish to play and learn more. Moreover, a back-end result registration and anti-cheat system connected to a third-party certified random draw service was created, along with the tracking of anonymized player data. This solution enabled the possibility of organizing a fair competition based on the game results and tracking how the average player's knowledge has improved over time. Did we succeed in solving the challenge? Well, according to the overwhelmingly positive feedback by our players, we are pretty sure we did. Appealing visual and technical elements of the game were appreciated by more than 15,000 players who finished more than 45,000 games in a period of 30 days. You have to admit, for a small country like Montenegro, these numbers are impressive indeed. Alicorn team developed a custom video game platform for creating educational video games. It gave us the power to quickly iterate and tweak the core gameplay loop, track the players' interaction stats, and make adjustments on the go, and ultimately expand and adapt the game for other uses. The entirety of the platform was created as a set of modules that can be replaced and reused. Want to turn the game into a multi-part competition between schools? We have got you covered. Want to replace a board game over a world with a simulation of moving through a parliament building, collecting votes? Sure. Replace, remove or modify mini-games, or run the game as a part of a video stream? No problem. If you are not still convinced that games are a valuable source of education and skills raising, and believe that older generations were right to say that nowadays kids are not socializing at all, they're always on their phones playing some stupid video games and wasting their time, well, allow me to leave you with a few final remarks to reflect on. According to Jane McGonigal from the Institute for the Future based in Palo Alto, California, playing games makes us great at developing an urgent optimism, social cohesion, blissful productivity, and epic meaning. All of these elements brought and summed up together create the so-called super-empowered, hopeful individuals who are masters of multitasking and problem-solving. After all, some of our trivia games were used as teaching tools at the University of Montenegro, which speaks a lot about their learning potential. Now, can you imagine the world leaders engaging in a worldwide video game contest oriented towards intensifying cooperation, education sharing, and, well, sticking up together to solve the global problems our lives depend on? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the world without coronavirus, or the world which successfully counters global warming and jointly adapts to climate change? The world in which the terrorism-related threats are lowered to the minimum? The world which has rediscovered its lost childhood and innocence, and by rolling the dice, reunites around common agenda and welfare? Ultimately, it is the playful nature of the child that allows us to dream big, act far beyond the imaginable, and united in diversity, pursue our epic victory. So, what do you say? Shall we play?